Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and I kind of wanted to do this for a few days now, kind of put my thoughts to paper as it were, basically form a, no, take a rant, form words with my mouth and just let the shit flow, you know, flow like Drano, just as the great LMFAO once said. Well, here goes nothing. Okay, so a few days ago, I was watching a couple of Total Biscuit's reviews, and well, I don't really watch his videos that often. No offense. I usually, try to go with my own gut and sort of, sense a bad game coming a mile away. Sort of like a disturbance in the force. Well, I saw that he had a video on Call of Poopy, Ghosts, obviously, and I mean, I just had to see it. By the way, if any of you non-Russians out there don't know, the Call in Call of Poopy is, well, it's a name I made up for COD some time ago, a while back, and I think it sums it up pretty nicely in one sentence, because Call actually means feces in Russian, so the reference kind of works. Okay, so let's go on with this. And I tell you what, I was a big fan of COD 4, which was my first COD I ever played. And I didn't know about Battlefield 2 then, or Bad Company back then, so I played COD 4 for like 2 years non-stop, and to me it was the best thing ever, the best thing since people started comparing things to sliced bread. And so as I said, I was playing COD 4 thinking it was the best game ever, and I kind of played the COD game that came after that. I believe it was World at War, but the thing it was significantly less interesting, not a whole lot of fun to play, and I thought it was just worse on every front. But then I was gonna buy MW2, but well, the good thing I asked a friend about it and basically found out all the bullshit, and that like no dedicated servers and it being tied to Steam and all that crap. So I didn't really want to buy it anymore, and I started actually looking around because I wanted to play some type of a new shooter. So I saw a I saw this Bad Company 2 commercial on TV. I think it was on TV or on YouTube or something. And well, I mean, I was hooked right there. Never have I seen before this kind of destructible walls, two-seater controllable helicopters and tanks and such. And I mean, it was the most fun you could have with your clothes on, So I started playing Bad Company 2 non-stop, and I pre-ordered it even before it came out, obviously. And I mean, I didn't really consider buying other games too much, what with schoolwork and all. And meanwhile, I was looking over at what was happening at Call of Poopy, and found that they were, they went completely insane. They were stamping out a game every year, These games were essentially the same thing every year, year after year. Half the original team left Infinity Ward, and it just sort of became this stagnant cash cow for Activision, who never gave a single shit about the players. So basically stamping out, the same carbon copies of games, and being arrogant enough to throw it back in our faces, like, you know what, we're gonna sell you the same shitty game, only this time it will be an even worse port, and we will then pile on a bunch of nonsensical DLCs that you will buy and like it. That was and still is the basic attitude, I think, towards gamers that Activision has. And I think it's deeply mistaken. And basically they are packaging the same old drivel, in this new box every year that's probably still running off the same id Tech 1.4 engine that they licensed out like ages ago from id, and never actually improved upon. So now people buy it every year because it's got COD written on the box, and the problem with this is I think that I'm sad to say that I think EA is basically turning into Activision. And I don't mean in like today, like this minute. I think it's been happening for a couple of years now. So what they are doing, what I think is happening is that publishers like EA are basically sucking the juices out of, developers like DICE, and then making unreasonable demands on these deadlines. And I mean, we all know that EA pushed the release of Battlefield 4 2 weeks before Ghosts. Not that they had anything to compete with, but that resulted in a horrible raw product that they released. And well, I think DICE is in a certain way still to blame because they obviously knew and accepted those deadlines, and they should have known better if they knew that they weren't gonna finish. But I just think that DICE gets more blame and hate than it should. And I mean, this is the norm. This is the norm today. The new for any AAA title, a big huge game that costs $60, that comes out half baked, raw, and then you have these weeks, if not months, of patches and fixes and such. And meanwhile, we have this $60 paperweight sitting on the shelf, and we got screwed into buying, it because of all the hype and the fanboy screaming and the live streams and the double XP on the first weekend and whatever. And we get what? Something like SimCity that you couldn't even play, or Battlefield 3 that was so full of bugs that I mean, there are still all kinds of hilarious YouTube videos and such on the glitches and shit. You remember that hilarious long neck, that sort of turtle head thing going on in Battlefield 3? That was hilarious. And how long did that take to fix? I mean, Battlefield 3 took months, right? And some of it was never fixed. So, and now they're continuing to stamp out these bullshit carbon copies of Need for Speed games that are basically the same recycled game every year, that gets worse and worse because, these arrogant fucks they have basically decided that this is what the public will play and they will like it. So, we get this Need for Speed Hot Pursuit knockoff from like 5 years ago in a brand new shiny box, and we pay $60 for it because it's considered a AAA title. I mean, the games get worse and worse and worse ports, and and each one is just worse and more linear than the rest and just bad. And then the last one, and by bad I mean, did you see the Need for Speed Rivals that in Need for Speed Rivals that they locked the damn FPS to 30? I mean, what the hell? Did you see Total Biscuit's review of Need for Speed Rivals? It was called "Let's Not Play Need for Speed." It is hilarious. I mean, I was watching it, and I just found it funny. He said he had to endure over 5 minutes of unskippable videos on how to play a racing game, an arcade racing game, you know, that had like four sodding controls. And I mean, these were videos, these weren't actually letting him play during the tutorials. So, nothing better than watching it on YouTube. And what the hell, I mean, it had the same controls for like over 10 years now. But, in my opinion, the Arrogance Award still has to go to Activision. Having the balls to charge $60 for a shitty port of a carbon copy remake that plays and looks and feels arguably worse than COD 4. And the funny thing is that Ghost actually required 40 gigabytes of space on your PC. I mean, I read that the system requirements, I just had to laugh out loud. 40 gigabytes? I mean, come on, Battlefield 4 needs 30. And, I mean, forget all the bugs and the glitches and the bad netcode for a second. It's literally light years away from Ghosts. I mean, where did those 10 extra gigs go? Riley mocap? The 10-minute space mission? The supposed high-quality, uncompressed textures that look more gray and terrible and one-dimensional than they did in COD 4? The horrible lack of optimization that they are selling to us as a AAA title? Because they can't see past their own arrogance? I mean, Total Biscuit's computer has, what, 2 Titans SLite, right? And those video cards alone costs more than my entire PC. And he is having a bad time, and problems running it in frame rate skips and, frame drops and whatever else. And it's just hilarious to watch. So you can kind of see why I think that this is mostly the publisher's fault and not the developers. And I say mostly. Because some of this blame is DICE's, of course. We will take DICE here as a glaring example because I am playing Battlefield 4 after all. So, take this gameplay in the background. See? Every few seconds the screen goes wiggy and everything splits into 3 colors. The RGB split, Now, this is of course a glitch, and one that happens very often at that. It was actually originally made to mess up the other commander's screen during an attack on his comms, but of course it's broken now and it affects everyone on the ground, and like every 30 seconds or so. And I will also tell you this, it's not healthy, not by a damn shot. My brother, when he was a kid, he had photosensitive epileptic seizures, which were then triggered by my Nintendo 64. And good thing he grew out of it, but still, I am very reluctant to even let him play Battlefield 4 now, because even my eyes feel like shit after playing, and I get a headache. And this is, just unacceptable. There is no reason this should be happening, especially in a AAA title coming from a big developer like DICE. But I think these arrogant, full of shit bastards are basically pushing out the door a raw, unfinished product, and it's being treated as a AAA title, and that's what we pay for. And before you start going at me and yelling, well, if you hate COD and Battlefield so much, then why do you buy it? But, and you might say buy something else. Well, see, then we have a problem, don't we? I mean, first of all, most, if not all, publishers are going the way of Activision. Gradually or more quickly, but they are. relying on their successes 10 years ago and basically repackaging that success, because it's cheaper than creating a new game. And they're repackaging it into a whole new box and selling it to us as a AAA title in 2013. And secondly, there isn't much of a choice out there. I mean, I have to choose from what? Arma 3, Battlefield 4, Ghosts, and Titanfall maybe, right? Maybe PlanetSide 2? Well, most of these games are out from the very start. And also, you kind of want to buy a game that, your friends have, right? So you can play with them. So there's obviously some peer pressure. And so you go down the same road again, and you are again feeding into this over-bloated, arrogant publisher, which just last year you swore to avoid at all costs. And the cycle repeats again. So, yeah. Okay, well, thanks for watching and sitting through all that. I hope it wasn't too vague in my rant, and I mean, if I pissed off a few fanboys here and there, tough shit. This is my opinion, and if you want to voice yours, write something below in the mess of a comment system that Google Plus has made of YouTube. And as always, please rate, share this video, and check out my other videos at the end of this one. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.